The room went quiet when my father lifted his glass. Crystal chandeliers glowed above us. Men in suits froze mid-laugh. Forks stopped halfway to mouths. My name, Emily, hung in the air like a bad smell no one wanted to touch. My dad looked straight at me and smiled. Not a warm smile. The kind that cuts. Emily, he said, loud enough for everyone to hear, after all the money I wasted on your medical bills, this, he tapped his glass, is all you deserve. A few people gasped. Someone dropped a spoon. Then he turned away from me. And now, he said, placing a thick folder into my brother's hands, I'm proud to announce that Michael will take over the company. Effective tonight. Applause exploded. I sat there, frozen, my hands shaking under the table, my chest tight like I couldn't breathe. My brother stood up, grinning, shaking hands like he'd already won the world. My dad didn't look at me again. That was the moment everything inside me snapped. And if you think I stayed silent after that, you don't know me yet. Before I tell you what happened next, please, if you've ever been hurt by family, if you've ever been pushed aside like you didn't matter, stay with me. Like this story. Watch till the end.
Subscribe.
Because what came after this dinner changed everything. Let me take you back to before my father broke me in public. Before the lights. Before the knives hidden in smiles. Before the betrayal. I'm Emily Carter. I grew up in Naperville, Illinois, in a big white house with perfect hedges and a father everyone admired. My dad, Richard Carter, was a legend. He built Carter Medical Supplies from a tiny garage to a company hospitals across the country trusted. People called him self-made. Newspapers loved him. Churches praised him. Employees feared him. At home, he ruled like a king. My mom died when I was 11.
Cancer.
Long nights. Hospital smells. Beeping machines. I learned early that sickness can take everything from you, your strength, your voice, your place in the world. When I was 13, I got sick too. It started with pain, then fainting, then months in and out of hospitals.
Doctors.
Tests. Bills. So many bills. My dad paid them. He never let me forget it. Do you know how much you cost me? He'd say, not yelling, just cold. You should be grateful you're even alive. Michael, my older brother, was the opposite of me. Strong. Healthy.
Loud.
Confident. He played football at Naperville Central High. I sat in the stands wrapped in blankets. People cheered his name. Teachers praised him. My dad glowed when Michael walked into a room. I learned how to disappear. Still, I tried.
God, I tried.
I studied hard. Even when I was tired. Even when my hands shook from meds. I got into University of Illinois on my own. No help. No favors. I believed, stupidly, that if I proved myself, my dad would finally see me. After college, I asked to work at the company. Not a fancy job.
Just a desk.
I wanted to learn. My dad laughed. You, he said. You can barely handle your own body. But he let me in anyway. Basement office. No windows. Filing papers no one wanted. I worked harder than anyone there. I stayed late. I fixed mistakes others made. I caught a billing error that saved the company thousands. Once, I stayed all night to help a shipment get out on time. No praise. No thank you. Michael, meanwhile, showed up late and left early. He took credit for teamwork. He smiled at the right people. He called Dad every day. And Dad listened. Still, I held on to hope. Then came the invitation. A business dinner in Chicago. Black tie. Investors. Lawyers. Executives. My dad told me to come. For a moment, my heart lifted. Maybe this was it. Maybe he was finally ready to introduce me. To acknowledge me. I bought a simple black dress. Nothing flashy. Just clean. Professional. At the dinner, I noticed something was off. Michael sat beside my dad. I was placed at the far end of the table. Like a guest. Not family. As the night went on, speeches started. People praised my father. Talked about legacy. About the future. My stomach twisted. Then my dad stood up.
And you already know what he said.
Your medical bills are all you deserve. I felt every eye burn into me. I wanted the floor to swallow me whole. After the applause, Michael leaned toward me and whispered, "Don't be dramatic. You should be thankful you got a seat." I stood up. My legs were weak, but I stood. "Dad," I said, my voice shaking, "I worked for this company too." The room went silent again.
He didn't shout. He didn't argue. He laughed.
"Sit down, Emily," he said. "Don't embarrass yourself." That was when I realized something terrifying. This wasn't a mistake. This was planned. I sat down. My hands clenched into fists. Dinner ended soon after. People came to congratulate Michael. No one looked at me. When we got outside, the cold hit my face. Michael walked ahead, still smiling. My dad stopped beside me. "You're not built for leadership," he said quietly. "You're fragile and expensive." Then he got into the car and drove away. I stood on the sidewalk alone. But the night wasn't done with me yet, because as I reached for my phone, 2 police officers stepped out of a black SUV. One of them said my name. "Emily Carter?" "Yes. We need you to come with us." "For what?" I asked, my heart pounding. "You'll find out," he said, already reaching for his cuffs. And that's when I realized. My father wasn't just done with me. He was about to destroy me. The cold metal of the handcuffs bit into my wrists as they pushed me into the back of the SUV. My heart was pounding so loud, I thought the officers could hear it. The city lights blurred past the window. I kept asking the same question, over and over. What did I do? No one answered. At the station, they took my purse, my phone, my watch, everything that made me feel like a person. The room smelled like old coffee and fear. They sat me in a hard chair across from a table. A single light buzzed above my head. One officer slid a folder toward me. "Emily Carter," he said. "You're being questioned about financial fraud." I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it made no sense. "Fraud?" I said. "I file paperwork. I don't touch money." He opened the folder. Inside were printed emails, bank records, transfer logs, all with my name on them. My stomach dropped. "These transfers," he said, tapping the page, "came from company accounts. Large amounts. Over 6 months." "That's not possible," I said. "I don't even have access." He leaned back. "Someone says you do." "Who?" I asked. He didn't answer. Just slid another page across. It was a signed statement. My father's signature at the bottom, saying I had full access, saying I acted alone, saying I was bitter, angry, unstable, saying I did it. I felt like the room tilted. "No," I whispered. He wouldn't. But a part of me already knew. They put me in a holding cell. Cold bench. Gray walls. No windows. I sat there shaking, replaying the dinner over and over. His smile. His words. The way he didn't even look back. Hours later, they let me make one call. I called my dad. Straight to voicemail. I called Michael. He picked up on the 3rd ring. "Hey," he said, cheerful. "Big night, huh?" "Michael," I said, my voice breaking. "They arrested me. They say I stole money." There was a pause. Then he sighed. "Emily," he said softly, "why would you do that?" "I didn't," I cried. "You know I didn't." Another pause. Longer this time. "You should tell them the truth," he said. "This isn't my problem." The line went dead. I slid down the wall and cried until my chest hurt. The next morning, I was brought into court. Wrinkled dress. No makeup. Hair pulled back with a rubber band someone gave me. I stood in front of a judge who didn't know me. Didn't care. The prosecutor spoke fast. Big words. Numbers that made my head spin.
They said I stole millions.
They said I planned it. They said I did it because I was jealous. My lawyer, a tired man I met 5 minutes earlier, whispered, "Your bail might be denied." I looked back. My dad sat behind the prosecutor. Not once did he meet my eyes. The judge looked down at me. "Bail denied," she said. "You'll be held until trial." The gavel hit. I was led away. County jail was loud. Metal doors slamming. Women shouting. Someone crying in the corner. They gave me a thin blanket and pointed to a bunk. I lay there staring at the ceiling, trying not to break. Days passed. Then weeks. Letters came from the company. My termination. My benefits canceled. Medical coverage gone. I stopped taking my meds because I couldn't afford them. One morning, a guard called my name. "You've got a visitor." Hope sparked in my chest. In the visiting room, behind the glass, sat my father. He looked calm.
Clean.
Powerful. "I didn't do it," I said as soon as the phone touched my ear. "You know that." He smiled. "You always cost me money," he said. "Now you're finally paying me back."
Why?
I whispered. He leaned closer. "Because you embarrassed me," he said. "And because Michael needs a clean start." I felt something inside me go very still. "You're sick," I said. He shrugged. "You always were." He stood up and left. As the guard led me away, another officer stepped in front of me. "Emily Carter," he said, "you're being transferred." "Where?" I asked. "To another facility," he said. New evidence came in. "What evidence?" He looked at his clipboard. "Your brother testified against you." And that's when I realized. They weren't just locking me up. They were burying me alive. The prison bus rattled like it was falling apart. I sat on a hard seat, hands cuffed to a chain around my waist, staring at the metal floor. Every bump sent pain through my wrists. Every mile felt like I was being taken farther away from the girl I used to be. No one spoke to me. Women around me whispered, laughed, cursed. Some looked angry. Some looked empty. I felt like I didn't belong anywhere anymore. When we arrived, the gates opened slow and loud. This place was bigger, older, meaner. The guard said, "Welcome to Joliet." They took my picture. Fingerprints. Issued me orange clothes that smelled like bleach and sweat. I was inmate number 447219 now. Not Emily. Not daughter. Not sister. Just a number. The first night I couldn't sleep. The lights never fully went out. Someone was always yelling. Someone was always crying. I curled into myself and tried to breathe. Days blended together. Breakfast.
Count.
Work duty.
Count.
Dinner.
Count.
I worked in the laundry room folding clothes that weren't mine. My hands cracked from soap and heat. My body grew weaker without my meds. Still, I survived. Then something strange happened. One afternoon, a guard stopped me. "Carter," she said, "you got mail." Mail? No one wrote to me. Inside the envelope was a single sheet of paper. No return address. Just 3 words, written in shaky ink. "I know the truth." My heart jumped so hard it hurt. That night, I barely slept. The next day, during work duty, a woman sat beside me at lunch. Older. Sharp eyes. Calm voice. "Emily," she said quietly. I froze. "How do you know my name?"
She leaned in.
"Because your story doesn't make sense." Her name was Linda. She used to be an accountant, convicted of something she swore she didn't do. "Your charges," she said, "they're sloppy. Whoever set you up rushed." I didn't want to hope. Hope hurts more than pain. But she kept talking. "Your brother testified," she said. "What exactly did he say?" I told her everything. She nodded slowly. "They used you as a shield," she said. Classic. I swallowed. "Can you help me?" She didn't answer right away. Instead, she said, "Be careful. If they think you're fighting back, they'll crush you." That night, I got another letter. This one had copies. Bank records. Real ones. Accounts that didn't match the court documents. Someone had altered them. My hands shook. Someone on the outside was helping me. Days later, my lawyer came to see me. For the first time, he didn't look bored. "Emily," he said, sitting down fast, "where did you get these documents?" "I didn't," I said. "They came to me." He stared at the papers. "This changes things," he whispered. "These show the money moving after you lost access." Hope flared in my chest like fire. But hope never comes alone. 2 nights later, guards stormed into my cell. "Get up," one shouted. I barely had time to stand before they dragged me out. No explanation. They took me to solitary. A small room. Concrete walls. No window. They took the letters. They took the copies. They took everything. A guard leaned close to my ear. "You should have stayed quiet," he said. The door slammed. I was alone. Hours passed. Maybe days. Time broke apart in there. My head hurt. My body shook. I missed my meds so badly my vision blurred. Then the door opened. A man in a suit stepped in. Not my lawyer. My father's lawyer. He smiled like he owned the room. "Emily," he said, "you're causing trouble." "I'm innocent," I said weakly. He laughed. "Innocence doesn't matter," he said. "Control does." He placed a folder on the table. Inside was a document. A plea deal. Confess. 10 years. Medical care restored. Refuse. He pointed to another page. A medical report. My condition. Highlighted in yellow. "Accidents happen in prison," he said calmly.
People get sick.
"Treatments get delayed." My blood ran cold. "You wouldn't," I whispered. He shrugged. "Your father already has."
He stood up and walked out.
I sat there shaking, staring at the paper. Confess to something I didn't do. Or let my own body fail me behind concrete walls. When they finally took me back to my cell, Linda was waiting. They'd moved her. Right next to me. "They're scared," she whispered through the vent. "That's why they're pushing." "I don't know how much longer I can last," I whispered back. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "I might know someone." "Who?" I asked. But before she could answer, alarms blared. Guards ran. Doors slammed. And over the loudspeaker, a voice echoed. "All inmates remain in place. Emergency lockdown." A guard rushed past my cell, shouting into a radio. "She collapsed, cell block C." My heart stopped. That was Linda's block. I screamed her name. No one answered. And in that moment I knew. They were willing to kill the truth to protect my father. The lockdown lasted 3 days. No yard. No phones. No visits. Just silence and fear. When the doors finally opened, I learned Linda hadn't died. She'd survived.
Barely.
But something else happened during that lockdown, something my father never saw coming. Because while they were trying to erase the truth inside prison walls, the truth was already escaping on the outside. It started with a nurse. A tired woman with kind eyes who whispered while checking my vitals, "Don't talk. Just listen." She slipped something into my blanket. A folded note. 3 words again, but different this time. "We're ready. Testify." That night, my lawyer came running. Not walking. Running. "They made a mistake," he said, breathless. "A big one." I sat up slowly. "Who?" "Your father," he said. "And your brother." Turns out, the person helping me wasn't just one person. It was a federal compliance auditor my father had fired years ago, quietly, illegally, after she questioned missing funds. Linda had known her. They reconnected. And while my father was busy crushing me, he got careless. The fake records?
Traced.
The altered timestamps?
Exposed.
The shell accounts? Registered under Michael's name. Everything unraveled fast after that. The same court that denied me bail now rushed me back in. This time, I wasn't in chains. I walked in wearing borrowed heels and a calm smile. My father sat on the other side of the room. For the first time in my life, he looked nervous. The prosecutor turned to him. "Mr. Carter," she said, "did you instruct your son to move funds under your daughter's credentials?" My dad didn't answer. My brother did. He panicked. He blamed Dad. Dad blamed Michael. And just like that, years of control shattered in minutes. I took the stand. My hands shook, but my voice didn't. I told them everything. The illness. The bills. The dinner. The words that cut deeper than knives. Your medical bills are all you deserve. The courtroom was silent. The verdict came fast. Not guilty. All charges dismissed. But that wasn't the revenge. That was just the beginning. 2 weeks later, federal agents raided Carter Medical Supplies. Tax fraud. Wire fraud. False reporting. Hospitals dropped contracts overnight. Stocks crashed. My father was arrested at the same building where he once laughed at me. Michael took a plea deal. Lost everything. And me? I didn't take the company. I did something better. I sued. For wrongful termination. For defamation. For abuse. And I won. The settlement funded something my father could never control. A nonprofit. Free medical care for people buried under bills, just like I once was. I named it Second Breath. The press asked me one question over and over. Do you forgive your father? I smiled. Forgiveness isn't the lesson, I said. Accountability is. Here's the truth I learned, and I want you to hear this. The people who hurt you the most often think you're too weak to fight back. They count on your silence. They underestimate your patience. But if you survive long enough, if you learn quietly, if you wait smartly, the same system they used to crush you can become the weapon that frees you. If this story moved you even a little, subscribe, because somewhere out there, someone needs to hear this before they give up. And if you stayed till the end, that means you're stronger than you think.